Hello. How's it going?
Um, it's good. I switched my driver just briefly to watch the stream while you were streaming. So
No, it's all
let
good.
me make sure just real quick that I can still like hear properly.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Take your
Okay, so
time.
you guys hear that? The saw wave?
No, cannot hear the saw wave.
Amazing. How did we? I can't believe this.
It's
I'm
okay.
sorry about that.
It's all good. We'll figure it out. So while you're doing that, I don't know how good you are at multitasking. So if not, I can cover the air.
Oh
But
wait, I
why
think
don't?
this is.
Huh?
Does this mic sound better
Oh,
now?
that sounds way better.
Okay, good.
Can you increase the gain on it by about 5 dB though?
Is this good?
A little bit louder.
Here. Is that good?
Yeah, much better. Much better.
Cool. Um, and let's see. What else? How was I? How did I do computer audio before? What did I click for that?
I don't know. We'll figure it out. So for everyone who is
I'm so
unfamiliar,
sorry, everyone.
you're all good. Don't worry. I'm used to covering dead air. So Glorkglunk is someone I can call a friend. I would say who. I met through Mr. Bill's Discord. Shout out to Mr. Bill. If y'all are unfamiliar with Mr. Bill, you are probably just hiding under a rock. Mr. Bill is one of the best producers I know. Just a big name in like the IDM glitch scene. And thanks to him, I met Glorkglunk, who, as I've been telling people, Glork, you are easily one of the best sound designers I know. And
Oh, thank you.
yeah, I hope
I
it's.
don't know about that, but
Hey,
yeah,
everything
thanks
I've seen from you has been just top notch. Okay,
so
so
much.
so
I don't know how to respond to that.
all good.
It's
Well,
amazing.
instead, why don't you start explaining a little bit about yourself? Why don't you give
Oh
people a little
yeah,
bit of
yeah.
an introduction while we try to get this audio set up?
Sure, sure. So, yeah, I guess I'll also start sharing my screen with you because why not?
Yes.
And so, I just basically I've been making music since like 2012, and I never really was particularly serious about it. And there was a period in like 2014 where I was finishing a lot of it, but mostly I've just been serious about sound design like since then solidly. And because of that, I ended up doing like some stuff for synths like Faceplant, and now I'm working on Vital actually.
What
There's the
is
share computer sound thing.
what
Okay,
is
cool.
that? What is
Um,
vital?
Vital it's another wavetable synth. It has a pretty similar workflow to Serum, honestly,
Oh,
but
for
I'm
sure.
not allowed to show it on stream right now.
Yeah, no
Um,
worries, no worries. Secret memes, secret memes.
yeah, stuff like that. All right. How about this? Do you hear this sound wave?
Yes. I
Okay,
hear myself
cool.
though. Oh
Oh,
no, we're
what?
good. We're good. We're good.
Okay, good.
Okay, so let's go over here. All right. So now I think you can see. Oh, let me move myself off so y'all can't see me. So I will be over here
Oh
in
yeah.
the bottom left, and then Gork will be somewhere. I need to get like a photo of something to put you in.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's
Sorry
okay.
about that. But I guess we got it all working now, so that's good. And yeah, oh, it's a bit crushed. That's a shame. Damn, not really sure what to do about that. It could be my internet, honestly, which I can't really fix.
Yeah, don't even sweat it. Don't even worry about it.
Um, okay, cool. So yeah, I guess do you guys want to just like do you want to get right into the wavetable stuff or what?
Yeah. Well, why don't you start by talking through what we're going to be covering today? I told people a little
Yeah,
bit, but I figured you could kind of take the charge here.
definitely, definitely, definitely. So basically I'm trying to cover how to make wavetables that are actually like useful and easy to modulate, and also, you know, sound like how you specifically, the person who's making them, want them to sound. Because sometimes, like, or I don't know about you guys, but when I was starting to make wavetables with Serum, I was just importing things and they were sounding fucking terrible, just awful whenever I modulated them, like a million clicks, like not a usable sound. And it took me a while to figure out like what things to do to make it kind of pretty guaranteed to work. And that's a lot of what I'm going to be covering today. And also stuff about like doing weird things once you already have wavetables, like combining them in strange ways. Like, I don't know, taking the even harmonics of one and the odd harmonics of another or something, or like copying phases, things like that. Weird.
What?
We'll
Wait. What?
We'll get into this.
Okay.
First we gotta
Sorry.
cover just like how to, you know, import
How to do
a
them for
wavetable.
sure. Can you show us a couple examples of either some of your samples or some of your wavetables? I mean, obviously,
Okay, sure,
you've
yeah.
made a bunch of the wavetables in Phase Plant, so if anyone's looked through those, you've probably heard some of his tables.
Yeah, definitely. I can show you some samples too, but actually first let's look at some faceplant wavetable because that's what we're talking about. And actually I'll give you some previews of a new pack that I'm working on Mr. Bill's sample label. Like, let's find some fun ones.
So many wavetables, dude.
Yeah, sorry. I should
No,
actually
it's
have it
all
like this.
good. No, it's all good. I like it.
Or like, I don't know. Let's see. Actually, let's add a LFO on here because that'll be way easier to show a bunch of things.
And were these made using just the Faceplant Wavetable editor? Or were you doing like resampling or Serum Wavetable stuff like that?
These are almost all resampled.
Okay.
There's like, so this is just my opinion, but wavetables they're audio files. They're not like something that's generated by the synth live. They're just sounds already. So because you can do more when you're, you know, just sound designing in your DAW, I think it's arguably a much superior way to make wavetables that you personally are going to enjoy. The benefit of using something like a wavetable editor is that, actually, this is getting into stuff that I was going to talk about later, but yeah, like it's essentially going to give you wavetables that are rendered at the exact right pitch to have the most quality. And other than that, which is not very audible unless you are listening, you know, really at really low pitches. Other than that, it's pretty much just better if you know what you're doing to make sounds you like.
Yeah.
Like, make sounds that appeal to you in particular. But yeah, there's a lot of tables here. Let's slow them down.
There's so many interesting harmonics in these, and like that's the thing that always for me was the struggling point, was like, how do I get like these like just really formanty harmonics without like a shit ton of phase issues, which obviously you're going to go into, but like
yeah
that's been my big struggle.
So actually a lot of my wavetables that have the most interesting harmonics, this is just in my personal opinion, of course, are made with additive synths. Actually, you know what? Let's get started and let's make a little wavetable in Harmor real quick.
Yeah.
So the reason that I use additive synths to make wavetables is because they don't actually use real filters. They use they essentially just turn the harmonics that are generated by it up and down. So like this isn't a low pass filter, even though it sounds like it. It's just turning sines up and down in a way that sounds like a low pass filter.
Do you ever use Razor by Native Instruments?
Yeah, I do. I just I'm a little bit more used to Harmor.
Yeah, no,
That's all.
I'm just basically if I ever ask you a random question, it's like I'm responding from chat, or I'm just taking questions from chat, or if you want to check out
yeah,
chat.
sorry,
you
I've
can.
been
No, you're all
talking to
good.
you, I've been so
Don't worry,
distracted.
don't
Really
worry.
good chat.
I'm the host. You're the educator now.
But yeah, I do use Razor. And I like it a lot. It's just I'm a little better with Harmor. So one way to get really crazy harmonics with Harmor is to use a custom phaser shape or something. Like with a really, really high width. Oh, oops. I still got the low pass filter on. And then that's too loud. Sorry.
So just so that I can kind of try and get some articulation on what's going on. With this, it's the same sort of thing as a low pass filter. You're not actually applying phase shifting or phase cancellation to it.
Yeah.
It's just altering how the sine waves are turning on and off.
Exactly, and that's how it can get such a like thin phaser shape.
Okay, and that's what keeps it from having like weird phase issues, right?
Yeah. And so you can also since it's kind of weird if you have a giant lump of low end here. I'm just gonna I'm actually gonna use the phaser mask. Sorry, I didn't mean for this to be like a Harmor.
You're all good. Don't even sweat it.
class.
No need to apologize for literally anything at all in this. Don't even sweat it.
See, now you can hear that the like low end's a little bit less like jumpy all over the place, and also if you look at the volume, it's a little bit more consistent too. And that's kind of desirable for wavetables because like you kind of want it to either, I guess you just don't want a few frames that have like some insanely jumpy harmonics that aren't going to be in the rest of the thing, because if you modulate through that fast, it's more likely to be clicky.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So what you're saying is you want to have some consistent, like, just so I can make sure I can understand what you're going for. You want to have some of the harmonics. In this case, it looks like you want the fundamental harmonics to have more stability in order to make the wavetable respond to it more effectively, essentially.
And Whittler is asking about a way to high pass and normalize wavetable slices in Serum, and I think that there is, but the filter in Faceplant is a little bit weird because it's I'm pretty sure it's actually like a filter that's just applied to every single frame versus being like an FFT editor.
Oh, for sure.
And then the normalize is pretty good. I think that would pretty much do the same job as
in Serum.
Serum's normalize.
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry, that's way too fast.
Cool. So can you talk a little bit about, just for people who don't have Harmor or aren't used to using this type of interface, can you talk a little bit about what the specific parameters you're modulating are?
Okay, sure, yeah. So the phaser is it's like a normal phaser in terms of the spectral response, like, you know, how we were going over the stuff about like a linear phase filtering and whatever. But since it's so thin, you could do all sorts of like weird things with it. Like if I turn it to this mode, for example, it's gonna like not even be a phaser. Oh wait, no, that's the wrong one. Thinking of frequency. So that's just not a phaser.
But what is it doing? But, I mean, you don't have to explain too much in depth, but
okay, so it's essentially just turning it's like a filter, but you could control the number of stages of the phaser, and that's what I'm doing with this width control.
Okay.
And as it modulates, it sort of, since it's so thin, it's giving all those like kind of metallic harmonics, and as I modulate the width, it sort of changes the timbre of the harmonics versus just sort of cycling through the same ones over and over again.
Okay.
But the point I'm trying to make here is not like a Harmor tutorial. It's just to make something that will work on the first try when I import it.
Okay.
Essentially. Okay, so now I'm just gonna try and,
So you're just trying to get like, are you trying to go for a specific type of sound, or are you just trying to look
I'm
for
trying to
interesting sounds, essentially?
I'm trying to look for interesting sounds right now. I'm actually trying to get it kind of over with because I want to get to the wavetable stuff.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
if you don't want me to, then I can definitely
No,
like
no,
slow
you're
down and start
all
explaining
good.
everything.
You're all good. I'm just
Um,
trying to keep the conversation going, essentially.
I'll get. Wait, oh yeah. So I think that's a kind of interesting movement. So we'll just start with that for now. And
You don't have to feel like you're in any rush. You can take as much time as you need on any of these steps.
well, it's actually like there's not a whole ton. Oh no, wait, there's one more thing I could do in Harmor, and that's just using phases from another wave. Um, and I want to try it at least. I have all these. I have a folder of one shots. That, oh no, wait, where's the single cycles? Sorry, I'm all disoriented by my browser being a little bit small.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No problem. All right. I'm just like these are all just waves that are essentially just saw waves, but with different phases.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and so you import it into so you can import it into Harmor, and it
Harmor.
responds to that frequency or
It's
that
it's like
phase.
importing a single cycle wave essentially,
Okay.
but it's technically not actually looping the audio. It's just moving the level of the harmonics and the phases.
Oh, interesting.
That
Okay.
and so since it's basically a saw already, we don't really need to mess with the harmonics. Oops. Wait, what? This is the wrong patch. Sorry. Right. So now I'm gonna just get a sweep of this low pass filter, and I'm gonna record it into Edison. And by the way, if you are into making wavetables, if you want to make a lot of them, Edison is like a godsend, and I'll show you why in a second. Actually, I'll show you why right now. So I've got a lot of windows open. Sorry about that.
Take your time.
I still haven't closed my audios. And oh wait, sorry. That's not what I meant to do. I think I made the envelope too long. So I guess we gotta.
So can you talk a little bit about why you chose the note that you did?
Okay, yeah, sure. Actually, I actually did it instinctively, and I shouldn't have. But what I chose this note for is it's actually because of the number of samples that per cycle that Faceplant can take to import. So a wavetable is it's audio, which means it's just a bunch of single cycle frames sliced up.
Mm-hmm.
And each one of those frames is going to be the same length of time in most cases. So like in Faceplant, the maximum number of samples it can slice for each frame is 2048.
Mm-hmm.
And that's yes, you are supposed to make a wavetable from the lowest note possible, whittler. But yeah, you so F0 is at 1010 samples at 44.1 kilohertz, which means an octave down would be 2020, which is like the closest you can get that any actual note is on. And I could technically try and go for like 22 point something more cents to be like the exact most accurate possible ever, and have like no possible resampling going on.
But is that even
the
like
import.
worth it?
I think it's not.
Okay.
I really think it's not. But I think going to actually, I should explain more about this too. But I kind of want to do that after we get into the wavetables.
Yeah, whatever
Um,
order you want to do things in, it's fine.
but yeah, like so at 88.2K though, F0 would be 2020 samples per cycle. So it's actually good to use that sample rate when you're working on bass sounds and you want to turn them into a wavetable.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's why I chose this note, because it's like a multiplier of that. And technically, Harmor isn't actually going to produce frequencies all the way up to 20K anyway, because it's an additive synth and it can only produce so many harmonics. So it actually doesn't matter when you're using an additive synth. But say you were using an FM synth or something, that's one thing where you aren't going to have phase problems, but you still could probably get harmonics going all the way up. And it's also not going to have like weird formant issues,
Okay,
which
so
we'll also get into later.
Yeah. So this is essentially like it's the best compromise between frame size, repitching, and the phase relationship. I think you said.
I think actually, I don't know what I was talking about with the phase part.
Oh, maybe that
honestly.
was just a different point, but it's still
Yeah.
useful. But yeah.
But anyway, so we got this little that thing. I'm gonna try and I'm gonna do like one little last edit, and then we're gonna get into faceplant finally. Just gonna make this longer. Okay, that's good. Cool. And so now we've got this little file, and technically, if you want it to be the most like the sound that you have, you might want to make it actually a little bit longer than this, because it like the movement will be more accurate on like a really granular level, but it's very hard to hear. And also sometimes if you move too fast and use up all the frames, then there'll be a few moments where it's jerky, but you don't really want to remove that part of the wavetable because it's essential to the movement, and it'll just kind of sound like it's snapping to a random part.
Which you usually don't want.
Let's open up faceplant here, and now you can just drag this right in from Edison. And that's one thing that I just love so much about Edison. That's why it's so amazing. And so now I'm just gonna, if you click over here, like on the beginning and the end, you can adjust where the wavetable starts and ends with a sample.
Okay, hold on. Can you move the wavetable editor over to the right a little bit?
Sorry. Yeah,
you're all good. There you go.
I'm not looking at your.
Here, I'll actually just move I'm gonna move down to the bottom right. I'm just gonna move down to the bottom right, and then that'll be easier.
Sounds good.
Perfect.
So now if we look at this wavetable right now, it doesn't look like there's any. Actually, let's go through it on here. It doesn't look like there's any horizontal movement, and that's what we want. That's exactly what we want. That means that it's clean and there's no like weird phase bullshit.
Yeah. So just to explain a little bit, just for people who are maybe not 100% sure what you mean by the horizontal movement, it's like, if you've ever imported a wave or a sample.
I was actually like right about to turn it off and show that.
Never mind. Then yeah, go for it.
So now if I turn this phase alignment thing off, we can see it's sort of drifting to the side here as I move through the wavetable.
Like scrolling to the right almost.
Yeah. And that's not what we want. And you can actually hear it because we can preview this wavetable in faceplant. I'm gonna close Edison real quick. All right, so see how it's actually pretty hard to hear.
Yeah, it's kind of like a
really
whippy
fast,
feeling.
you can hear a little bit of a click or something.
especially at the extremities of the wavetable.
Yeah. And maybe let's say I do it. Let's do something more extreme. Let's say we just got the entire note wrong. Let's say it's G1. Let's see how it sounds when I modulate it.
Oof.
There we go. That's really kind of garbage.
All the little clicks and pops and stuff. Yeah.
And it sounds less tonal too. Anxiety D&B, no horizontal movement indicates, it indicates essentially no phase movement. There are cases where you can have phase movement that's desirable, but if there's absolutely no horizontal movement, there's no phase movement. Like for example, actually no, I have to finish this first. I'll show you an example of phase movement in a wavetable that looks good in just a second. So we got it wrong, but the actual note is just F1. It's just F1 exactly. And Faceplant tried to guess that it was F1 plus 12, and that was just not right. But it's fine because it got close enough that it didn't sound very artifacty.
Yeah, absolutely.
And see, that's like absolutely perfect.
Yeah, that sounds really clean.
Yeah, and it sounds like the actual sample that we imported. And so now we can press done because we've got the actual importing part correct. Because that's the stage where you really need the or the like done thing. I don't know. That's what that's for essentially. And now we can we could remove DC from it if there was DC, and I don't think there is, because it's straight out of Harmor. And we could also normalize it. So now we've pretty much got a complete wavetable here. But it's possible for us to like run into many different sort of kinds of trouble that we didn't run into here. If you like, for example, we're using a bass with a filter in it, people don't actually mention this a lot, but there's a lot of sounds or a lot of filters can change phase movement quite a ton, and especially if you like move them fast.
You want to show us some examples of that? Because I feel like there's specific ones that you're thinking of in a new synth that maybe came out a little while ago.
Yeah. All right. Let's try. Let's pull out our friend from 2014. Serum.
Oh boy.
And so if we
I love your Serum skin, by the way.
Oh yeah, it's Prometheum. I think it comes with Serum now, actually.
Oh, interesting. Cool.
So everyone's favorite filter here.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we got
calling
the
people out right now.
The
entirety of the EDM trap movement has entered the chat.
Yeah. So if we turn this reverb filter off, we can hear that, you know, it's just a song, and it's obviously one note. Like there's no debate about it whatsoever. And now let's bring this reverb filter in, and it's being modulated over a bar. You can hear what it sounds like.
I'm hearing some weird movement at the very end of the wavetable, or at the end of the LFO, that I'm not used to hearing. It sounds almost like a fart.
Yeah, something like that. And I think that part at the end will actually translate a bit. But the part that, you know, the way that everyone wants to use a reverb filter is like some, I don't know, crazy growly bullshit. Sorry about the volume. Actually, let's remove it. Like, and kind of try and keep it in the area where people like to modulate the reverb filter. So if we keep it in like here, you can kind of hear that it's just like
just destroying
extremely
the sound.
noisy. And even if you take it off, it's a little bit. It adds like what almost sounds like weird partials or something, especially if you turn the resonance off. And so if we just take this and resample to oscillator B right now, let's see what we get.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's totally moving, and it's like kind of a mess. And it's mostly a sine wave too.
Yeah, it just looks like a sine wave of noise injected into it.
Yeah, so it's, for example, that like if you were to sweep a low pass filter over a bar long, it would technically move the phases, but it would be extremely negligible. And I don't think anyone would care. And there's ways to like sort of deal with the quality that would the quality loss that would bring in Serum. Like, for example, you can fade the edges here.
So would you say that you generally want to avoid things like all pass filters and comb filters, things that are really going to like directly affect the phase of the sound?
Oh yeah, sorry, Whittler was asking me to high pass and normalize the wavetable. And I'm actually kind of curious too. But yeah, there's. Oh my god, I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted by multitasking.
Yeah, don't worry.
So if we high pass it, it's still pretty much garbage. It sounds like something, but you can hear whenever you move the table that it's like if I press it right there, it's obviously tonal, but as soon as I start to move it,
you can hear like almost
like pitches a little bit or something, and that's the phase movement. But yeah, sorry, what did you just ask me before I distracted myself?
No, you're all good. I was saying, so it sounds like if you're going to be using filters, you want to try and avoid things that are intentionally trying to mess with the phase of the signal, like a comb filter, which the reverb filter is based off of, and like an all-pass filter.
Yeah, totally. The only exception I would make to that is if it's tuned and still. Like if it's tuned to a harmonic ratio, which I don't think you can do with the reverb filter, but you could do with a comb filter or something. And it's just sitting there and not moving. For example, like a resonator in the that you tuned in Faceplant or something.
Yeah.
And or like a square phi in Faceplant.
Yeah, like
for example.
Yeah. And you should show that off while we're working on this. I think you should save that for after we've gotten like the patch moving, but that'll be really good to show people.
Okay, yeah. Should I? Yeah, I guess I should make this into like some kind of patch now at this point. And oh yeah, I guess we can. I'm gonna do some fun stuff with new LFO tool. I downloaded the new version of Faceplant.
Yeah, the newest beta.
But yeah, the newest beta. But then I figured out that I couldn't press MIDI as I was like with the Windows opening again.
Oh no.
So I switched back for this stream, but I'm gonna keep testing it for them, obviously.
Of course, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's. I really love this like kind of hand-drawn LFO thing. It makes it so much more easy to get like kind of interesting new movements that you weren't expecting. Like,
I like the steppiness of that, and it sounds like it's actually smoothing the end result. Like even though there's all those points, if I look at the LFO shape on the like on the actual modulator, it looks like they've removed all the individual points and kind of like interpolated the overall shape.
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening. I don't really know. I haven't tested it. That would be interesting to figure out about, but it would be sometimes you would want it to be kind of snappy though. But I don't know. It's hard to say because like these points, they're pretty close to each other, and like there's not like one that's jumping out really weirdly.
Yeah.
Let's actually test that. I'll turn this tool off. And then I'll move one of these. And we'll see how it sounds. Oh yeah, you hear it.
Yeah, it's like a little.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. So
Anyways.
yeah. Should I talk more about wavetables or
Well, I guess
actually yeah. Let's make this into a patch that might have some weird movement in it, and then we'll try and turn that into a wavetable.
Okay, perfect.
Because that's always a good idea.
Yeah, and while you're doing that, why don't you talk a little bit about like what kind of motion do you think is good for a wavetable, and what kind of motion do you think is bad for a wavetable? Like,
Oh, yeah,
what should
definitely.
people be kind of looking for when they're starting to create their own wavetables from scratch?
So generally, what you want is above all like movement in like the spectrum, basically, and like I guess that's kind of obvious, but at the same time, like there's a lot of things that sound like they're adding spectral movement, and like it doesn't sound the same if you remove it, but actually it's just phase movement that you're kind of hearing as like a texture or something. Like for example, unison is a no-go. Most cases. There's like if you put like a tiny bit of detune, sometimes you can get away with it, but really it's pretty undesirable.
And that goes back to like the phase cancellation stuff,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
And I think really you can get anything that you like in a wavetable as long as it doesn't have phase movement or atonal frequencies. That's the other thing you need to watch out for, is anything like atonal or something.
So like bells would not necessarily be a good starting point.
Depending on the bell, yeah.
Okay. Like if it's like super metallic and it feels like there's a
Yeah,
lot of inharmonic frequencies.
definitely not.
Okay, for sure.
And well, actually, Glorious Rainbow, there's like the thing about it is like you can kind of use these as like starting points for making atonal frequencies, even if you aren't interested in anything without like weird partials and stuff like an additive synth would have. Like a wavetable, or for example like this, into just a random ring mod is already going to give you some bizarre partials. That harmonic at, at the bottom is really nasty. Let me see if I can get rid of that real quick. Just totally trying to get rid of this up. See, that's already some interesting weird partials.
So is there a reason
So
why
yeah,
you're doing that with a filter rather than doing that inside the patch? Or excuse me, inside the wavetable?
It's just because the filter in the wavetable is it's a bit destructive, and also like I don't know, I want to save this wavetable.
Totally,
I want to save it
totally.
with the sub. But yeah, I mean, it's not a bad way to do it in the wavetable, actually. Like I actually, now that I think about it, I don't know if where is the filter effect? All right, how do you filter in here again? It's been so long since I've actually used that.
Oh, it's
Let's always do it.
I think it is.
Is it when you import it?
I think it's when you import it. Check the edit menu. Actually, it might be under there.
Yeah,
no? Or no. I'm sorry. Look at the left bar. Look at the bottom button on the left bar.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go. Yeah, it's this. And it looks like they added slopes, but I don't actually. I thought that they had a. high pass in here. That's weird.
You should be able to change. Look at the top bar.
Oh yeah, there we go. Cool. Yeah, and then we got the slopes, so we can do it. Yeah, it's like that basically.
Mm-hmm. Just kind of cutting out any extra unnecessary rumble and stuff.
Oops. So, yeah.
Okay, so it is just removing the fundamental. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And yeah, looks good.
You don't have to do that for the
but
final
actually,
table.
I don't want to do it because yeah, I like
Yeah.
I like the sub being in there. Anyway, so I'm just gonna get into using the modulators a little bit here too, because I don't know, it's faceplant update day. It's
I know
faceplant update day.
everything's moving around and stuff.
Yeah. And that's already starting to get somewhere interesting.
That's pretty nice.
Now I'm gonna try and attach this high pass, and I'm doing things that maybe necessarily wouldn't be the best idea for a wavetable, specifically to demonstrate like, what if I have this patch that relies on these certain things that might not be the smartest, and how would I go about like fixing that? But I'm not going to do obvious things like, you know, even though that kind of sounds cool. Well, actually, that doesn't sound cool on the
modulator, yeah.
To be honest. These new filter slopes are really nice.
Also, can you talk a little bit? I guess I could talk about it. So you'll do that, and I guess I can just kind of explain what's going on. So by adding the high pass filter with the resonance boost and the notch filter, what Glork is doing is he's trying to adjust the formants of the sound to kind of create more vowely, more human textures. And if you're making basses, like especially for you know drum and bass genres or dubstep genres, like there's not a ton of vocals in the song typically, so the bass patches kind of take that place. Does that make sense, or does that sound about right?
Yeah, that definitely sounds right. And that's pretty much what I'm trying to do too.
Yeah. So you're taking something, making it formanty, and then you're making it again almost even more formanty. Which, does that allow for good like recursion when making wavetables, or do you feel like there is a certain limit on how much motion can go into the initial patch?
I think so. The limit really has to do more with the amount of time that we have in a wavetable, which is like the number of frames.
Okay.
So it's really not like, it's just related to the amount of time and the amount of movement over time in a patch. Like in faceplant, we only have like 256 frames. So at the lowest pitch, I'm not exactly sure how long that would be, but if you're importing a wavetable that's over like 10 seconds long, it might be kind of
too much.
Yeah, kind of too much. Yeah. This is a snap, or this is a slice EQ preset, by the way, but I'm just using it in Snap Heap because it's got the
Could you show off the patch real quick, just so people can see? It's basically just, it looks like it's just a notch filter.
It's just this filter.
Yeah, it's basically, okay. So it's just, it looks like two notches with a peak in the middle, basically. Yeah. Nice.
And I can also morph it, actually. I want to show you guys that.
Nice.
I'll show you in the actual thing too. Like there's all these macros in here that are assigned to like kind of shift it from that to a normal notch.
Oh, that's so cool.
And then it,
and that's also just a lot of formant movement and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for now. And so I think now I'm gonna go for multipass and grab everyone's favorite. Everyone's favorite. We're gonna do
Oh,
OTT, but it's not really OTT. Um, it's just,
it's
as you
just
can
making
see,
things
it's just
loud.
3 compressors into a limiter. It's just making it loud, essentially. Okay, that's a little bit too much high end. And now I want to make the, and this is not smart for making a wavetable. Don't do this. I'm gonna
Do as I say, not as I do.
yes, exactly. And so now we're kind of approaching like a sound. And actually, let's mess with the squarify thing.
Yeah.
Just
So,
real quick. So,
do you want to explain it, or do you want me to explain it?
I can explain, but I have a feeling you're generally better at this stuff than me.
No worries. So what Glorkglunk is doing right now is he's applying a comb filter to the second harmonic overtone of the sound and key tracking it using a negative polarity. So what's happening is the sound is being duplicated against itself, and using the phase or a delay, it's kind of slightly offsetting the timing of the sound based on whatever frequency you have it tuned to. And no, it's not 880 because it was written in F. We're going to get to that in a second, Nalith. So when you first open up the comb filter, can you open up a fresh comb filter for us, Glork?
Yeah.
When you first open it up, you'll see that it's set to 440 hertz. In Phase Plant, they do note tracking based on the tuning system that we use for our music, which is A equals 440. So A 440 is, I think it's A an octave above middle C, or not? I think it's an octave above middle C, and so by tuning your patches based on that using note tracking, you can get essentially, a resonator to play on key. You can get a filter to follow a certain note you're playing, and if you do a multiple or a divisor of 440, you get different partials of the harmonic overtone series. So 880 hertz double 440 is the same as the second harmonic overtone, which is one octave up, which would be an even harmonic. Since Glorkglunk set the polarity to minus, what happens is all the peaks and the troughs of the waveform are being flipped. So now, for the even harmonics, the phase is being completely canceled by this comb filter. And if you know anything about saw waves versus square waves, a saw wave is every single harmonic in the overtone series, and saw wave is every harmonic. A square wave is every odd numbered harmonic. No, he's adding square. So right now, the sound is a saw wave waveform at its core. If we looked at it through a spectrum analyzer, you would see all the individual harmonics. Yeah, he's
I'm unsawing.
Exactly. So can you bypass it and then turn it on just so people can kind of hear what that big long explanation was
I was gonna
doing?
do that as soon as you were done talking.
Awesome.
So that's it before. That's with it on.
Yeah. So all of the even harmonics are now gone, and it's similar to the squarify effect in Serum's Wavetable editor.
Exactly. And that's what I'm doing. I just like to test it with everything because you can actually automate it. Also, I gotta wait. Did I not track this? Okay, cool. I'm also I'm making it even more rhythmy. I guess I'm just making a rhythm sound right now.
Yeah, and I will say that you can do this outside of Phase Plant because of Snap Heap and Multipass. Like if you have a Serum patch or a FM8 patch or even a silence patch, and you put, say, Snap Heap after that, you can route the MIDI into Snap Heap and then use the MIDI functionality in Snap Heap, or argue even multipass if you wanted to do it to like just a certain frequency range of the sound, and do the same process, and it will actually squarify whatever synth or even sound you're putting it on if you can follow the pitch.
Actually, Arthur, the oh wait, are you talking about? I'm confused. Like the new format?
The new format,
Okay.
done by either. Are you talking about the Snap Heap, or excuse me, the little notch peak thing, Arthur? Or are you talking about the
Yeah.
comb filter? And Glorious Rainbow is curious, why did you do the comb filtering after the format shifting?
I don't really know, to be honest. I don't think it makes much of a difference. Versus, yeah, it sounds the same to me. But I don't know. Like, there are cases. Ooh, that's weird. And why is it on the 32?
Oh, you
But
were
yeah,
just
there are
trying to
cases where
answer
it
his
sounds
question.
different.
Yeah,
But I don't know. It's probably not going to make a difference here. Why I did the comb filter before there, and as far as like, okay, yeah, everything that's happened so far is in series. I'm about to do another lane for my sub though, and this is one of my favorite wavetables for subs.
Yeah, use a sub in like everything.
Yes, I do. I just love subs that go ooh. And it also means that you can sort of high pass higher when you use a sub that has harmonics like this. Like if I wanted to, I could go like
Oh,
now it won't even sound like way too empty because there'll be some mids filled in by the sub when it goes up that high.
Yeah, you can do like more extreme modulations.
But I don't actually want it to scream that much, even though it's kind of sounding cool, but like,
Not what you're going for right now.
Oops. God. Yeah, now we're starting to get somewhere.
That's fat.
And I think I'm just gonna completely turn the sub band down in the Faux TT preset. Just because I'm filling it in with the other oscillator, and I don't want like a bump of sub when this filter goes down.
It's super clever. Little stuff that go ooh ooh.
Yeah, I just saw that. But let's see. Now let's just use I think I'm almost done with this patch, honestly. It actually came together really fast. But let's put there's this other little nice patch that I kind of want to show off. Where is it? Oh no, wait, no, it's a multi-pass patch.
Do you ever use the little search thing to type in? I found that it's like
I should.
It's like you're saving like 2 seconds, but technically like typing in MU and hitting enter is just like a little bit faster. Same with like in the generators. Like I found that instead of clicking filter, just click F enter, and it's just a smidge faster.
I should probably do that. I'm just not used to it yet.
Exactly. Same here. I still click all the time. So what is this patch?
It's basically a multi-pass that adds noise to just the sub of your sound. So if I was to put this on the channel with both of them, it would actually still sound pretty much the same. So I don't know why I'm doing it. But basically what it's doing is If I mute the band that's not being affected, oops, not what I meant to do.
Click the M, the little M next to the, like go into the multipass patch, and then right next to 200, click the little M.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I also noticed that I didn't route the actual faceplant patch right.
For sure.
But I got it now. So if we turn it off, if I mute that band, then oops, wait. Basically, just sounds like this.
Oh, there's a little bit of a whoa, a little bit of a wow kind of motion.
Yeah, and I think it'd be a little bit more exaggerated if I. Yeah.
So is that the ring mod?
Yeah, it is. And there's actually 2 ring mods here. One is just ring modding it by itself, which is the one that is labeled SAW, basically. And that's the one that sort of does this effect. And then there's this noise, which can get way too much. Then there's stereo for the noise.
Yeah, and it gives like this almost like what I like to call like the stabbed subwoofer feeling.
Yeah, definitely. And then there's just the frequency of the
actual noise. Yeah. Ooh. At the low levels, it creates this almost like phasey motion. Oh no, there it is. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's just something that I use for subs sometimes when I feel like there's a little bit of room in the high end.
Oh, you probably got to unmute the multipass patch.
Oh yeah.
There we go.
But actually, now that I think about it, it's probably not a big difference considering I only put it on the sub.
Oh, true.
Okay, that's way too much distortion. Sorry about that, everyone. Okay, so I think we've actually got something that we could turn into a wavetable now. I'm gonna kind of delete this, turn back into a ramp up.
Oh, interesting. So you don't want it to kind of return. Now that you've gotten the movement that you want, you just want to scan through that movement rather than kind of create a shape.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Because if you have like a sort of wub type shape, and you import that as a wavetable, it's going up, then it's doing the same thing backwards. Why have both?
Yeah, that's a good point.
You want more definition.
No, it makes total sense. Like that's one of my big problems whenever I was making wavetables is I would make a wub. And it's like Glorious Rainbow was saying, it's redundant information. That's such a good point.
Yes, completely. So yeah, avoid that for sure. And so now we're gonna bust out another faceplant, and I'm just gonna try and import this and see how well we do. Actually, I'm gonna. Wait, actually, I think this should be fine. So we need an Edison.
Now, is there a problem if we don't have Edison? Like, for example, if we are using
Actually,
Mac?
You know what? I will show you right now how to do it without Edison.
Okay,
because it's education time.
Yeah, unfortunately, not all of us are on Windows. Some of us have to make do with the lack of image line support.
Yeah, perfectly understandable. So, wait, actually, I'm just gonna record. I'm just gonna record onto an audio track. So, wait, oops. Oh my gosh.
We'll get there.
I'm sorry. I'm just very
Don't
spacey.
even sweat it. Don't even sweat it. Doesn't image line support OS X now? Yes.
Okay, so we want like this part. I think it's like right there when it starts to repeat. And so now we would just take this and render it to wherever you want to put it. So I'm just gonna save it to my.
Oh, secret memes.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm being safe, but I've been told that I should do this.
No, do what you
I
gotta
don't
do,
have
buddy.
anything to hide as far as I know.
I actually have to use the restroom real quick, so if you could
Yeah, I can entertain
just
them.
keep doing what you're doing, I will be right back.
All right, so
My
I'm
water bottle.
saving
I will be
this in
right
my
back. Keep going.
like serum attempts folder type thing. So I'm gonna save it as Musar stream pp patch. And now we can go to that actual folder on my computer. And sorry, where is it? Oh, yeah, there we go. I'm being very spacey on this stream. All right, so we got this patch, and what note did I even choose? Let's figure it out. All right, so it's still an F, like before. And oh yeah, it thinks it's a different pitch though. So yeah, but then again, if we turn lock all on, like it's on now, you can still hear that it sounds a ton like the original sound. But it's not quite. It doesn't have the same texture. And the reason for that is that the phases are copied from one frame in the middle and applied to every single frame when you choose lock all. And what that means is it's essentially going to remove the problems from your wavetable. Like it won't sound messed up when you modulate it, but it won't have quite the same amount of texture. So we're gonna see if we can get it working with none.
Are there any times in which you'd want to do that?
Yes, and it's when you're using atonal stuff.
Oh, for sure.
Like stuff that's when you're getting experimental, lock all is your best friend. But this is a tonal enough sound. I made decisions that like were mostly tonal besides the ensemble on the high end and the noise. But like those were purposeful so that this wavetable wouldn't be perfect. So now if we turn that off at the size that Phase Plant thinks it is, sounds pretty terrible.
Yeah.
And we know that it's F1 F1 right now, but I'm just gonna show you guys something real quick. Okay, so that looks pretty much right.
Yeah, I don't see any horizontal movement at all.
I think there's a little bit, actually, but not enough for it to really matter.
Yeah.
And it also sounds more like the actual sound.
Exactly, yeah.
But let's say that we just turn it up by 10. It's going to sort of slowly start drifting towards the right as you move the wavetable position up.
Yeah, even if it's just like a little bit off.
And then if we go minus 10, it's gonna just do the opposite, and as you go up, it's gonna move backwards, left. So if you're unsure what, and you're not like, you just can't be fucked, you want to get the one, the note value with the least
motion.
The least motion.
Yeah, or at least
for example, if
horizontal
something's
motion.
going back and forth. Like, I swear I needed to make this sound worse so that it would go back and forth phase wise, but it's okay. We can maybe we can find a good example of that when we start to
like user wavetables, like
Yeah,
samples
yeah.
that people send in.
When
Also,
other people send us samples.
yeah. Also, thank you.
So
Hey, it's Ben for that follow. Also, thank you, Anxiety DNB, for that follow an hour ago. Sorry, I missed that. And if people want to get um, any samples analyzed, hold on, I need to resize this. There we go. I think I must have messed up my thing. Thank you, Tempest, for that follow. If you want to start uploading samples for Glorkglunk to try and make wavetables out of, if you hop over here to the Discord, there's a channel here called Stream Discussion. Post samples for Glork to make into wavetables here. And then a little while into the stream, we're going to be trying to turn these into wavetables and discussing like the do's and don'ts, the goods and bads. Sorry to interrupt, Glork. Keep going. I just wanted to make that known.
I actually I don't know what to get into besides that stuff, and also more experimental wavetables now.
Yeah.
Like wavetables made from stuff that's not tonal and things like that.
Well, I do have a question before we get into that type of stuff.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because right now, this is great for what I think a lot of the people in stream are focusing on. This is great for making like bass patches for rhythm or other forms of dubstep or drum and bass or techno or whatever. But what if we wanted to make a wavetable that's particularly good for a pad or for some sort of chord synth or even for a lead? Like, are there any sort of different considerations, or is it still the same basic process, just at a different pitch?
So I think it's in some ways it's the same basic process, but at a different pitch. But you're not going to want to import a wavetable that you're going to use for leads at the pitch you're going to play it as a lead. And that's kind of annoying because there's some. I'm actually let's do an example of this real quick.
Yeah, like, could we make like a wavetable like Strafe is suggesting for like a soundscape, like a big evolving pad kind of thing?
Well, I think that this first Harmer thing would actually work surprisingly well for that.
Okay.
Not the actual patch, but the wavetable that it's made from. I'm gonna save that real quick. But these kind of more spectrally sounds make more like interesting pads, but I found a lot of the time that like
album, I need something to offset
Sorry,
all
the
these
robot is
music
talking.
bugs.
Thank you for that 2-month resub, Arthur. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, buddy.
Stuff that's like designed to write melodies with, you kind of want to have like a wall of harmonics, and you don't want to have like a lot of higher harmonics either. Like if you're gonna play melodies and chords with a instrument.
So you'd almost want something that's a little more low passed.
Yeah. And but or like for example, people use saws, and saws aren't particularly low passed.
Yeah, sure.
But you don't want something that's like the wavetable that I just made. Like you want something that's sort of got a more like smooth decay without a bunch of resonances. But if you were going for like a weird pad, those kinds of waves are pretty good.
For sure.
I'm gonna save this wavetable real quick. And then try and make like a pad with it or something. All right. I don't know. Where do I? I'll just save this in here. Oh wait, no, it's an additive table. I don't know what I'm doing with my names.
All good. Yes, I was actually about to ask, do you prefer names that are more descriptive, like what you just did, like Harmer Hollow Harmonics, or do you prefer something that's more like descriptive or kind of evocative of a certain emotion, like
So I
modern
honestly
talking.
like the evocative ones a lot better. But I don't always have like the creative juices for it.
I feel you.
Like, and sometimes I just want to like get the wavetable saved and moved on to the next thing, which is what I'm trying to do right now.
I feel you.
Let's see. Additive. No. Here we go. So if I was to play like a chord with this, maybe that's not very good actually. Maybe I should use like a warp mode or something. But yeah, let's try bending it a little bit.
To kind of basically dull the harmonics a little bit.
Yeah, or like saw them out almost.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. Ooh, yeah, that is kind of sawy.
Yeah. So then you'd like, I guess I'm just gonna make like a pad envelope here that I can use to modulate everything with. And then like this. So
also, kilohertz people, I don't know if you are still watching, but if any of you are, please let us use the output generator as a module for modulations.
yes.
Like it's so annoying to have like that ADSR envelope that you can't attach to anything.
Yeah, I don't really get it either because I tend to want it a lot of the time too.
Same, it's because you want the volume
but-
automation to be the same as the filter automation.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess I'll do this, and then I'm gonna. Wow, that's wet. I kind of wasn't expecting that.
Dig it. Do you think the spread is in like the fact that it's not like stereo wide, like the harmonics are all kind of like playing with each other?
I'm not sure. Let's try it. I also gotta.
Yeah, and it does sound like it's coming across in mono, but it's all good.
Oh, it's coming across in mono?
Yeah, apparently, I guess for some reason I thought Zoom was in stereo, but I mean, both Discord and Zoom are mono, so it's not like it's gonna make a difference. But
Huh.
this is fun.
Trying to figure out what I even want to do with this. Maybe like some kind of like reversery thing. But yeah, you generally want something more like soft for
Yeah,
chords.
less motion, but still motion, basically.
And I'm actually modulating the wavetable position a fair amount. But it kind of makes sense because it's, I don't know why. Never mind.
No, I get you. It's okay. I got you.
It's
No,
like the low mids kind of
yeah.
have the wavetable kind of have a lot of movement.
Yeah, well, it's like when you had the cutoff going super high and the frame of the wavetable was going towards the end of the modulations, when it started coming back down, you could hear a lot of the higher harmonics kind of like sweeping together. So I think it's more that there's just like, it's almost like there's a little bit too much motion in the high frequencies for a pad. So you want to try and at least from what it sounds like, you want to try and focus in on, depending upon the type of sound, like how much bias there is in certain frequency ranges. Similar to how, like with the bass, you actually want a lot of those upper mids and some of those higher frequencies because that's where all the, the formant movement is for making it sound like a human.
Absolutely.
But with a pad like this, you don't want to have that type of formality movement because it's supposed to be more background.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's what
You
I'm
want
noticing.
the movement in like the lower frequencies, but not necessarily through the whole thing.
Exactly.
Although
yeah,
one
yeah.
thing that can work is like stuff like sync, for example, which is sort of just moving from low to high through the
Yeah.
entire wavetable. But that stuff's actually pretty good to use as wavetables.
Oh, interesting.
And the same thing goes for like FM stuff. In fact, let's just make something really really fast.
Yeah.
FM is like it makes as neat of wavetables as additive synthesis, basically, unless you get into like detuning territory.
And this might be a good place to start going into like experimental wavetables. Like, how can we start to push into stuff that maybe like we wouldn't be used to doing for like say serum patches or something like that?
Yeah. I'll get into that. I just want to like
do this first. Totally.
Just quickly demonstrate just how dead simple making wavetables with FM is. Actually, I don't want it to be all gravelly though. I want it to be kind of nice and smooth.
Very throaty.
Let's pitch it up. Nah.
So can you talk a little bit about what you're listening for?
I'm just listening for right now for something that would sound interesting as a pad, honestly.
Okay, for sure.
I don't really know exactly what I'm doing. Maybe like, and then release.
That's almost a cool
So
pad on its own.
Yeah, that's a kind of interesting pad. And like it's basically just like a sign with a few harmonics being modulated by a triangle, and that's dead easy to import as a wavetable. And I'll show you. Wait. Oops. Why is it doing that thing where it like just keeps playing notes? I'm just gonna delete this and then bring it in. All right, so
It just looks so cool, dude.
Yeah, it does. I like it.
Man, this is why I wish friggin' Edison was in Mac. Not because I want to do this specific thing, but just because it looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, it does really look cool. But okay, so here's the wavetable we just imported. Actually, let's just import this to another wavetable in the same patch.
Oh, and then you could FM the wavetable by the wavetable.
Oh yeah, I could.
Or even honestly, I feel like ring modulation would sound better in this case. Or do you try and turn the ring mod into amplitude mod ever?
What do you mean? Like, isn't 50% amp mod?
Well, so from what it looks like, it technically because it is bipolar, it's supposed to be ring modulation because it goes in both directions. But if you like the way that I've gotten this to work is if you add a distortion at 0% drive and then flip the bias up all the way, it turns the lower half of the waveform up to the topper half, so you only get unipolar modulation. And if you do that to the level, I believe that's amplitude modulation rather than ring modulation. I could be wrong though.
I was always under the impression that like
I mean, we could probably get the actual Kilohertz people to answer that question for us. I don't think they're here, so I don't think they can answer it right
Yeah.
now. But
That would be cool.
I'll definitely ask them about that because I feel like they said at some point that like if you use the audio rate modulation on the level, that is technically ring modulation, not amplitude modulation. I could be wrong.
I always thought this was amp mod essentially, like what I'm doing now.
Oh, yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. I could be wrong.
And then when I would go to like this, that's ring mod.
So 50% of the level mod is amplitude, 100% is ring. Maybe.
I think, but I don't know for sure.
Okay, yeah, already is saying the same thing. If you do 50% ring modulation, it's amplitude modulation. And I think I'm going at it kind of from a similar thing where it's like, it's technically 50% of the total modulation, but it's like 100% depth because it's like, just I'm biasing the thing. But it's probably a different process. I think you're both right, and I'm wrong in this case. But anyways, sorry.
So yeah, let's
Back to the pad.
Is this right? Oh yeah, it is. See, that sounds pretty much the same. It sounds like FM. But it's just actually it's not quite right though, because it's the wrong pitch, and it's got lock all on. So, and we'll get into lock all in a sec when I start doing more experimental stuff. Like, that's already kind of getting somewhere.
Oh yeah, it's very warm too.
Yeah, I like the way that it sounds with the unison a lot.
And it feels like if you could throw on maybe Ableton Spectrum after this, because I would love to see how the harmonics change on this sound as we morph through the table.
Yeah, sure.
And while you do that, I actually think that sounds awesome, Strafe. Yeah, what do you think, Glork, about using like analog synthesizers as wavetable generators? You think that leads to different results, or better results, or worse results, or?
It's analog synths make absolutely awesome like single cycles, but there's a problem with them being analog, and that's that they have drift. So you're
right.
pretty like, unless you can figure out a way to get around drift, and honestly I don't know exactly how extreme most analog drift is because I don't really have much experience with analog gear, but if you have drift, then either you need something like the lock all phases thing, or you kind of just have to deal with like little saw-y artifacts upon importing. So it's difficult, but it's possible for sure. Like, you can get a good take and then it'll be perfect.
Thank you, Sproul Priest, for that follow.
So yeah, it's like, it's a kind of complicated subject, but I think it's worth trying if you're interested in it at all, because it's not guaranteed to be bad. And well, how guaranteed it is to be bad basically depends on the piece of gear you're using.
Yeah.
From what I understand, like how much the filters are going to change phases, and how much it's going to drift, how noisy it is, whatever. What's actually going on in the patch, a bunch of factors.
Yeah, that does kind of sorry, go ahead.
Not a bad idea.
That does kind of give me a idea that I've been having a bit of trouble with in terms of phase plant versus serum for the Wavetable editor.
Mm-hmm.
Stylo, thank you for the raid with 2. Sorry for that little alarm that's going through your ears, Glorkglunk. But thanks so much, Stylo. In serum, if I wanted to make Wavetables. Thank you, somebody and co for that follow. If I wanted to create like a single cycle wavetable, like the basic shapes in Serum, if I wanted to do that in Serum, I just have to literally drag the waveform into the single cycle view in the bottom of Serum's wavetable editor. How would I import multiple single cycles into a single wavetable using FacePlant?
I don't remember off the
Is
top of my
there a
head.
good
Let me
way?
check.
Yeah, I know. I'm throwing stuff at you. I apologize.
It's no, it's all good. I think I've done this before though. So let me try.
I guess
But I
actually
think it's
you just
for
move the
sure
frame and
not
import, right?
optimized for it.
Yeah.
Like Serum would be the one that I would use to do that.
Okay, for sure.
Let's find my single cycles.
How do you share samples again? So Tempest, there's going to be a channel in my Discord called Stream Discussion. It's Stream. I'm going to type it in chat. Discussion. And post it in there, Tempest. And then in a little bit, once we're done with this, and once we're done with the experimental wavetable thing, right, Glorkglunk? We're going to go into making samples out of these.
Okay, so I think maybe I figured it out. Oh, maybe not. Nope, I didn't.
No, yeah, it seems like for now, stick with Serum.
Yeah, for now, stick with Serum for that. And there's actually another really cool thing about doing that in Serum, which I think is something that like other wavetable editors haven't really done as much. Which is like it's really easy to just make a wavetable out of other single cycles in your wavetables in Serum.
Can you elaborate a little bit on what you mean?
Yeah, I'll just do it real quick. Honestly, so we're gonna just go through some wavetables and find frames we like. Okay, so copy this. Then we're gonna go over to oscillator B, paste it. Now go like, I don't know. Oops, I don't want that one on.
Oh, I see what you're doing now. Okay, this is gonna be cool. I'm excited to see how this works.
So that one sounds cool. And
this is such a cool idea, dude. Like, cause
like
then you
this.
morph between them, right?
Yes.
Oh, that's so
and there's
fucking
also
cool,
there's something else cool too that is again Serum exclusive. In there.
So to anyone saying, you know, Faceplant is a Serum killer, it's close, but there are a few things.
I don't know. Let's just grab that.
So don't go refunding your money from Steve Duda right yet.
Just trying to. That's kind of interesting texture. All right. So now we've got these 5 waves, and if I just go hit morph spectral zero fundamental phase, because I want all the low end phases to be together. And I also want spectral because I actually like when you're using waves that are like, or when you're blending waves like this, the in between waves can just sound like either of them, honestly, so it can be kind of boring. But spectral sometimes adds weird artifacts, which I actually kind of like here. So let's see how this sounds. So that's not a particularly like cohesive wavetable. It kind of got some cool timbres.
Yeah, like the middle section definitely has a lot of cool motion in it, but the extremities don't feel too super.
Yeah. So in Serum, what there is there's all these sort functions. It'll sort all the single cycles by different qualities. And I don't
Oh.
remember exactly what all of them do. Like there's some that are just like the number of partials, and then some are like where the peaks are. Some is like where the average highest peak is. I don't know. But basically, point is when you make a wavetable this way, it's really the way to sort it.
Oh wow.
So that's actually kind of a cohesive movement now. But we can keep trying all the sort modes till we see which one we like best. And that's what I recommend you do every single time, because honestly, like
You never know.
there
right?
isn't really a one that sounds best in
Yeah.
this case.
It's going to be subjective. And I mean, this is about making your own wavetables, not about like how to make the Glork wavetables.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because eventually, if you're watching this, the goal is that like you're going to have your own taste. Like, what type of movements are you drawn towards? What type of timbres are you going for? And definitely, what type of source sounds do you find yourself most drawn to? And all of these things will add up to create kind of the variation between what you're seeing on screen right now and what you should be doing in your own projects. And trial and error is really the only way to know, because like there's just so many options that you kind of have to build your taste at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's also how I made one of the tables that I showed earlier. Like if you spend a lot of time on this, you could make really cool ones, like this one that I was playing with earlier. Wait, oops. So that one's fun.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit like out there in terms of like what it actually does.
Mhm.
But like at the same time it's kind of, it's always got interesting harmonics, and like I've never heard something that really sounds like that besides Carbon from Massive. And I think that's how they made it, honestly.
like-
I think they did a similar thing.
Okay.
Like just grabbing a bunch of single cycles and being like, this one, this one, this one.
And now let's morph them and rearrange them and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Experimental wavetables, and then let's go into the
okay, so let's go into like my texture folder. Bryce for actually I'm gonna turn my volume down. There's just a lot of
loud.
differently leveled sounds that are kind of random here. I'm just gonna try and find something that's just chaotic, like completely.
It's very atonal.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I think there might be some cool stuff in here.
Yeah.
Let's get that first sound. Let's try this. So this is obviously not. Not. Shit. Oh shit.
That was perfect.
Yeah. This is obviously not tonal at all.
I think we're gonna go into that, GR. I think that's kind of what this is focusing on. Like how to get something that's cohesive tonally, but it still works for more atonal sounds.
Yeah. That's what we're about to do. Basically, I'm gonna just put this in Edison because I'd rather not have to render it than drag it in from the browser again.
Do what you got to do, buddy.
Yeah. Right. All right. So now we got this, and We need a new phase plant.
I believe there's actually also a Melda plugin that also does recording. It's not as full featured as Edison, but I saw Matt
Yes.
Zoe use that. So if you don't want to do resampling and stuff, you can still use that plugin.
I like this just because it's so incredibly convenient.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And so let's see how this let's see what Faceplant thought of it first before we do anything here. That's actually pretty decent.
I'm impressed. Yeah, I'm super impressed. I don't see really any big horizontal movement.
Well, the lack of horizontal movement is because I left lock all on.
Oh, sure. Excuse me then.
Yeah.
Pardon me.
Yeah, like if we turn lock all off, it'll be the most garbage thing we've messed with yet. Oh,
not
like
really.
I lied.
It sounds different, but you can see there's a lot of motion to it that probably not desirable, but you could make something desirable out of that, I feel like.
Yeah, it's just that like modulating through it, you kind of hear that like pitch change.
Yeah, like I think it would work as like a single cycle kind of thing where it's like you don't modulate the frame, but you get like a bunch of different textures out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
But we don't want that for this, obviously.
In my opinion, that's actually sort of an inferior wavetable because it's just a collection of single cycles at that point.
Totally fair. That's totally fair.
Because, like, I don't know, like the reason that you're importing something as a wavetable is to modulate with it rather than just like, just anyone knows how to like
just flick through wave cycles and stuff. Yeah,
yeah, like just grab this, loop it,
yeah, totally,
or whatever. But yeah. So if we turn lock all off, it pretty much ruins this sound. But now I'm gonna get into something about like the import size when you're not worried about it being correct.
Mm-hmm.
So since we don't have to worry about turning it off, we can use the import size to actually adjust the formants of this. And since it thinks it's A0, that's actually that's an octave below what I'm play like the octave that we're playing right now.
Mm-hmm.
The bass octave or whatever, because Faceplant's meter, whatever it's called, is one bull.
Yeah, it uses. I believe it uses. There's two different things. What you're looking at is the difference between scientific and I think it's either Yamaha or Roland for the pitch notation. Like middle C Yamaha versus Roland, because that's actually literally the two different things. When you are using Ableton, for example, middle C is C3, which is, I believe, the Yamaha middle C, but scientific notation and the Roland middle C is C4. So Faceplant uses the scientific middle C notation, whereas Ableton uses a different one. They're both valid. They're both used lots of places, but that's the differentiation. Sorry, I know that's a bit unrelated, but just it's good to know that stuff, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And so what I was getting to is that the root pitch, when you've got something atonal, is actually determining which note it's going to sound the most like the original sample on. It's not really and like the formants of it, essentially, like where they are, like how high pitched they are, because a second ago when it was on A0, to my taste, it's just a little bit too like high pitched or something. Like it's a little bit raspy or something. That's just my taste though, so if you disagree, that's fine. But if I move it to F1, now it's it's a little bit more neat, but there's you can see that like there's some frames where it's like here where it's jumping because it doesn't have as much time to put in each single frame.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of something to think about too in these situations. But I'm just gonna, instead of dealing with that, you could just toss the
Remove it.
parts of an experimental wavetable you don't like, and it'll be fine probably. Because you don't really set out with any particular plan when you're making these. You just like make a cool sound and you're like, huh, wonder if that'll work. So losing a few frames is never really, at least to me, a huge loss.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we've got, yeah, there's still some weird frames around here. Oh, it's these little low frequencies. Okay, so now this should be,
Oh,
that
yeah,
sounds
yeah.
pretty like, let's check the original sample first. And now listen to this. Oops. Oop, wait. Oh yeah, it's on here.
So it's really like that
Versus,
middle section where like all the upper harmonics look a little
Oops.
consistent.
Yeah.
It feels like it's almost focusing on those.
Yeah, definitely. I think it has. Wait, where's this patch? Oh yeah, there it is. So yeah. Because like around here it's really rumbly. But I don't think that even in those parts where there's a lot of harmonics, it's actually like tonally related
Mm-hmm.
completely, because it's a granular sound, and I sure as hell didn't pay any attention to
The pitch, yeah.
the pitch, and I was modulating the grain size. So it would be really surprising if it was tonal.
Yeah, and also real quick, order. Yes, I think we basically did that a little while ago. You were probably trying to base it off of that, but yeah, I think if you were trying to like get something unique, you could totally look for like single cycles from this sample, get something from like the beginning, the middle, and the end, and then blend those together. That could
Oh
totally
yeah,
work.
absolutely, and that'll be cleaner, especially like if you take less frames. I mean, I kind of doubt you would go through and pick out 256 individual frames from this, but if you were to do that, it actually would probably be a little bit messier than if you had just, gotten like 8 or something.
Yeah, I think the core idea is when making wavetables, you want to allow the wavetable like to have more interpolation between the actual frames of the sound, so that it feels smooth, because then it's just blending rather than jumping.
Yes. A lot of sounds that you make will have jumps that sound totally natural, but it's only because of the exact speed that they're at. Like, and like you can't really tell because you only really hear them at that speed ever.
Yeah.
Like
Wavetables
it's
just
not like
open up
there's
a whole
a
host of
literal
problems.
discontinuity in the wavetable or in the
Yeah.
waveform. It's just like weird inconsistencies that sort of end up being interpreted like that by a wavetable synth.
Exactly. I mean, it's a like it's with everything in sound design. It's a game of guessing and experimentation. And like you can get to a point where it's like you generally know like I want to use this type of table for this type of sound, but like for each individual like use case scenario, I would call it, you are more likely going to have to do fiddling, and not like trust the process to just make something good. You have to like involve yourself in it.
Yeah, and I think you have to involve yourself in. Really, the most involved part to me is just making a sound that you like and making sure that it isn't like rumbly and messy.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, there's one other thing.
One other thing.
One other thing in Serum that's really nice that I haven't seen that I don't think is in Faceplane at all. And I'm just gonna try and find some old file that has like in my Serum attempts that just is probably not gonna work because it's messy.
Thank you so much for that 7-month resub, Addicts. Thank you so much, buddy. How you doing?
How about that? Yeah, that sounds good.
Man, there's a dubstep sound I haven't heard in a couple years.
Whoa.
Woo.
I really like those sounds. I use them a lot.
Yeah, no, they're good. They're just old.
Yeah, definitely. I actually kind of associate those kinds of sounds with like Face and Misanthrope or Noisia, like, except for this is kind of a shittier version.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't even know what pitch this is now that I think about it. Let's figure it out. Oops.
They're classic. Nice.
Tuner. Okay, so I think that's an F. That's an F because it's saying it's an F.
Yeah. Also, you should probably turn off the monitoring on that track.
Oh yeah.
Perfect.
Wait, what? Why did it import the whole thing in? Okay, there we go. So now, oof, yeah, that's a giant mess at the end. Look at that.
No bueno.
Yeah, no bueno at all. But say you have something that says no bueno is this. say you do. And say you just are intent on getting it to work even if you have to make a few sacrifices. So there's a few things we can do here. First of all, I want to try crossfading it and just seeing how it sounds. I'm gonna delete the crossfaded frames. We're gonna have to do other things. So yeah, you can hear all this like sawy buzzing when you move it, and even in some frames that's not like right there. You know, when you listen to it, it sounds like that sound is hollow, like it has only odd harmonics.
Yeah.
But over here you got this like
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be honest, like without just using directly Squarify, you're probably not gonna be able to completely remove it. But one thing you can do is fade it, like X-fade it in Serum, and that should help a little bit. It didn't help as much with that frame, but it helps when you're moving through it in general. And so now I'm just gonna undo all this, get back to where we were before. And I'm actually gonna mess with the phases of just the low ends so that they're all lined up with each other and the high end still moving. And there's formulas for this. I can actually post my Serum like formula.
How did you get those?
I just asked on the forums.
Oh, you asked someone before. I dig it.
Yeah. Dude, I gave them to me, honestly.
Oh, nice.
But like, yeah, they so now we've got like this thing. Oh wait, I forgot to do something. Wow.
Well, why don't you figure that out?
You want to X-fade before you do that formula.
Okay. Thank you for that raid of 14, Copper Queen. Thank you so much. How are you doing? I love you. You are wonderful. Thank you so much. How is your stream? We're currently learning how to make wavetables with Glorkglunk. Say hi to Copper Queen, Glorkglunk. Thank you so much, Sage.
So yeah, I guess back to what we were doing. So if you set the, I'm gonna undo the crossfade now. And if I was to freeze all the phases right now, see like this little like click that was at the edge of the waveform before, it's moved over here for some reason, I think. And that means that you can't even remove it anymore because you can't X fade it out. So you have to X fade your edges before you mess with the phases. I hope that's an adequate explanation.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't really
it makes
how else to put it.
sense. Yeah, you're all good.
And so wait, what? Never mind. So now that we have this like nice phases, and we have cross or edges on the crossfade on the edges. My God, my brain.
Trying to keep a lot of stuff in your head right now. I get it.
It should sound good in theory. Yep, that sounds like a woo. And now the only thing we really need to do is normalize each. And since this, sometimes there's just no way to fix this at all. Like but in this case, the original sound was all odd harmonics. So we can get it closer to the original timbre if we go into the like pre-made formulas and squarify there. So now it should sound like now it's pretty much a clean version of the original sound that we started with.
Yeah, like the original
just
has
garbage.
Yeah, the original sounds like it's mostly square, but it definitely like
it doesn't translate as mostly square once you import it as a wavetable.
Yeah, and by removing that, you almost make a cleaner version of it. Also,
Yeah.
I think Whittler is realizing that you and him are very close together in distance. So
yeah, we are.
You're in Austin, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
definitely.
You were right by the Wid, and I think also by Copper Queen, because I think she's in Austin or Houston.
Oh, cool.
So there's a whole
I
whole
barely
bunch
know
of
any producers
here.
here at all.
Yeah, Houston. Yeah.
So I'm trying to think like what else I should cover even. I think I've really gotten a lot done.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Well, what we could do is we could now go in on the user wavetables, because it looks like we have a couple of samples in here. I'm going to play them for you right now. We've got the Whittlers. And we got Ordity. We've got Atplute. And then we got Tempest. So these are the starting wavetables. Do you have it open, or do you want to spend some time
pull it
grabbing
up.
that? Again, they're in the stream discussion channel. If you want to upload a wavetable for Glorkglunk to make and talk through, you can drop that in the Discord in the channel stream discussion. How many rounds of resampling do you find you do for your average wavetable?
So a lot of my average wavetables are actually resampled, and I don't think there really is like a good way to answer that, to be honest, because usually I just make a sound, I make it into a wavetable, and then eventually I'll use that wavetable and I'll make a sound with it. So
it just all depends.
Yeah, it just happens later, and some of my wavetables are probably resampled like 30 times or something, but I have no idea. I have absolutely no clue.
It just happens.
Yeah.
Whittler saying he's curious about how to make the vocal sample into something that you can still understand the words of.
I got it. We're gonna do it.
Start, yeah,
for sure.
Yes.
Right, so I'm in stream suggestions now. I have.
Oh, wrong one. You're close. Let me
Yeah.
tag you.
Sorry.
You're good.
Oops,
Here,
stream discussion.
here.
Awesome. Cool.
Perfect.
Now I'm downloading everyone's stuff.
Oh, and we also one from Glorious Rainbow.
Banana.
Perfect. Perfect. Awesome. Sounds good, Wid. How's it going, Sleeper Cell?
Right. So now I have got them all in my downloads folder. So okay, so I think the first one is the Whittlers. Okay, so this is Bumba. And we go into faceplant. And honestly, I think that again, this is where the lock all mode is going to be your best friend.
Because it is like, even though it's a vocal, it has a pitch. It's not a varied kind, or it's not a consistent pitch.
Yeah,
it's a varied
moving.
pitch. Yeah.
And if it, yeah, and if sometimes even if it isn't moving, there can be like weird kind of plosives and junk in vocals that isn't really ideal if you don't fix the phases. All right, so let's see how it does. Ooh, it thinks it's like way too low. I think. Yeah, what the fuck? That's insane. So, or way too high, I mean. How about a 1? Oh wait, oops.
That just sounds like a. Well, I mean, it's pretty fitting that the deep dub legend, the Whittler, sent in a vocal that became a deep dub wub.
Yeah, kind of. Wait, I think that's the wrong. Wait, I think it's the wrong one. Yeah, that's the wrong one. I was just totally on the wrong sample. My bad.
Oh, you were just on the right one, the different sample. Well, which one was that?
I don't know. I think that was.
Oh, that was just one of yours.
Actually, mine. I don't know why.
Your own samples. Yeah.
So,
also, a couple of questions, real quick. Why don't you get that imported? And then, looks like Glorious Rainbow is curious. Like, would it be good to import the vocal into Harmor to get a consistent pitch from it?
That's actually a great way to do it. Yeah, I completely agree with that. But you don't have to, because like as you can see, I don't know. I'm gonna put it here. Oops, I meant. Wait, what? Why does it sound so different? Oh no, I think this is about where you'd want to do it for like a bass, I guess.
And the formants, like, you can really clearly hear the words.
Yeah, definitely. But if I was to turn lock all off again, you can still hear it, but it's just not really something you would want to use for like a main bass sound, for example.
Yeah, like you could.
So if you want your like main bass to say Pamba Clat.
Yeah, you could use. I feel like you could use this for like. Well, actually, can you test this real quick? Can you do like a slow scan from the start to the end, just to kind of hear what it sounds like if you're doing it over like a bar or so. Because I'm curious to hear the artifacts. Because like what I'm assuming is it will sound pretty okay. And it'll just kind of play back like kind of time stretched ish.
Yeah, pretty much. It sounds a little bit like granular stuff, but maybe a bit more clicky, basically.
Yeah.
Let's turn the BPM down.
It actually doesn't sound that bad, but you can definitely hear the artifacts.
Yeah, and so if we switch it to lock all again. it sounds like smooth as hell.
Mm-hmm.
You-
And in
even
key.
smooth when it's yeah, that too. That's another important aspect. But and then also one other thing that's kind of cool is you can do like interesting things with vocals and still hear the
actual
vocal
words.
part of it.
Yeah.
Like I'm squarifying it now. I guess that doesn't sound quite as obvious as I was expecting. But with some vocal samples, it'll 100% sound like whatever you put in.
Well, I mean, it still sounds there, but it
Yeah.
sounds kind of like hollow, which makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. I think probably what you'd want to do is something like this. Rather than going like
Ooh.
sounds kind of cool with only even a harmonics too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and that was one thing I was gonna talk about during the like more experimental wavetables part. It's how like you can combine wavetables that way. But anyway, so Whittler, do you want this wavetable like squarified or anything, or do you just want it to be like pretty much just like the original sound as close as possible?
And Ordy is wondering, like, are there any use cases for the other lock modes? Like, when would you find yourself doing like lock fundamental only, or any of the what was the other one? I don't remember.
There's something about lock fundamental that I don't understand, that I just don't like as much as Serum locking the fundamental phase.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't know why, but it seems like it adds those it adds that like kind of quality that you get when you move wavetables that are imported at the wrong pitch. Maybe because the top end is moving and the bottom isn't, but I don't know why that would sound different in phase plant versus Serum, but it just does.
Yeah, I guess just different maths. That's my only assessment.
All right. Yeah. I don't know.
What was the other? Isn't there one more?
Oh yeah, there's correlate. And I think correlate is actually fairly useful if you've got something that almost works on none. If something is like really close to working on none, then try correlate out and it might make it better. But I've actually experienced it making things a little bit worse before. But that's less common than with lock fundamental, in my opinion. But really, I just like to use the Serum formulas for when I can't like get it right with none or lock all.
Well, that makes sense.
So
yeah, it looks like Whittler already got the information that he needs. So you pretty much just nailed it.
And now I'm trying order sample, which is like a fucking troll challenge.
Oh, which one
but
was?
We'll see.
Oh,
it's the one that's like modem sounds. But I am definitely gonna make it work.
Good luck.
Right, I'm at least gonna try.
It's the AU5 kick one. Yeah.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, what I would probably do this in Serum and like get a bunch of single cycles from this maybe.
Okay.
But I'm not sure. I'm trying to do everything in phase plant though, just to like, I don't know, fit the theme or something. That sounds like it already, actually.
Yeah, it sounds pretty close.
Wait, I gotta pull up your stream again because I was on Discord. I mean, honestly, that it really does sound like it.
more clicky with none, but it's also not that bad.
Yeah, it actually isn't. But I think it's because all the stuff isn't the high end.
So would it work if we
So
pitched it down lower, like if we went to like F0?
that's gonna make it the formant like higher, I think.
Oh, it's
So
gonna
it
go
might
up
not sound as
more.
good.
So maybe, oh, so maybe try F2.
Yeah, let's try F2. But see, this is an example of a sound that I wouldn't use for a wavetable because the steppiness of it doesn't really translate
To
properly.
modulation.
Like
Yeah.
you don't really want that because you can, if you have any given wavetable that has a smooth interpolation, you can just create the steppiness through modulation. And this is, so essentially this is like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11, I don't know exactly, 12 13, I don't know, it's like 10ish frames roughly. In terms of like the actual effect of what it is.
Yeah, and it's also different. Thank you, Gray Moon Music, for that Prime sub. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. We're working on Orderly Sample GR, and I think the pitch change in the sample is also a big contributing factor to the problems.
Yeah, but I think that like relatively to some things, it actually isn't so like nasty and unusable. Like if we did go into Serum and just chopped that into one of those tables that we were talking about before, where we had like 10 cycles or whatever, I think that it would sound pretty good.
Okay.
Besides the fact that it's like all high end. And that's another thing. I personally don't use a lot of wavetables that are mostly high end because I find it difficult to make anything other than like FX with them.
Oh yeah. Just because it ends up being too noisy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Nalith has a question. And that might actually be a good way to kind of show like the different harmonic interpolations and stuff that you were talking about. Like, could you splice between like a synth wavetable and then a vocal, and then turn them into like one kind of correlated table?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it right now. But there's the thing is, I don't know one way, like the way to do that. It seems like there's a few different things you could do. Like you could, of course, grab frames like we already saw, but I'm not going to show that because we already saw it. And you can actually use the odd harmonics of here. Let's get this Bumba wavetable back. You can use the odd harmonics of the Bumba wavetable, for example, and the even harmonics of some other wavetable. I'll find some. I'll import the next person's wavetable.
Yeah, which
we'll see.
would be a Plutz, which is the Skrill.wave.
No, this is...
Which that would be interesting, like two different vocals, the odd vocals from one, the even harmonics from the other.
Oh yeah. Okay, so yeah, Skrill is right here. Wait, this is the one that I want to replace. Oh, that did not work. I guess that might be a bug.
Oh, multiple wavetable editors trying to open at the same time.
No, I tried to drag it in because it said drag to replace wavetable and didn't.
Oh, okay, for sure.
It's okay. Anyway, so now we got Skrill. Ooh. I think it's way too high. So we're also gonna import it at bass pitch because it says Skrill.
That's so close. Nice.
All right.
That's awesome.
So now, wait, actually, this is not how you would do it. Now I'm gonna make a separate group for both of these. Oops. Group, and then and output. Oh wait, I'm gonna normalize this too.
The bomba clat needs to be normalized.
God
But this is
damn it!
sounding
Why
awesome.
does that make me crack up so bad?
That's perfect because it's literally the perfect wavetable.
All right. So now we get 2 comb filters and we get a note modulator.
Yeah, and just to explain what's happening is Glork has routed lane 1 and lane 2 into lane 3. So now rather than lane 1 going into lane 2, then into lane 3, they are independently sent into lane 3, which allows him to do this, where he is removing all the even harmonics from one and all the odd harmonics from another.
So now if I turn, now we got that square bomba clat vocal from before, and then on this side we got sort of a pitched up version of the of Skrillex thing, and together they don't actually overlap on any harmonics. We can take a look at a spectrum too, and I'll
Yeah,
show it
for
to
the
you
first
guys.
time in the stream, we open up a spectrum analyzer.
Yeah, I'm so used to using EQ8 as a spectrum, but I probably shouldn't do that for other people. Actually, let's use ProQ, because everyone loves ProQ. So with Skrill over here, we got only these harmonics. You can see here there's something little thing like dancing in the middle.
Yeah, it looks like there's supposed to be something there, but it looks like it's being
but there's
pulled
nothing.
away. Yeah.
And so then go over to the. Actually, I wish I could show you guys better. Maybe I should make this.
Oh, it's fine.
Smaller. I know, it's just, let's make it medium. All right, so and then here you can see there's a first harmonic, but this second harmonic is gone. And now when we bring what are we doing? Good question.
Yeah, we are basically shit posting at this point. We're basically just shit posting.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because you can actually hear the independent words because none of the harmonics are overlapping.
Exactly. You can hear like 2 words at once, and this is how I made some of the actual wavetables in the Kilohertz factory library. Like, let's see. I think if we went to this one and then we sent, it's this one. You can actually hear that it's 2 different wavetables when you listen to it like this. So that's only the even harmonics.
Okay.
And then the odd harmonics. Wait, nope, that's not the one I'm thinking of. Apparently.
Oh. I mean, it sounded pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it was one of the ones they took out. Because it was definitely in. Huh. Wait. Yeah, whatever. Doesn't matter. But it's a thing. You can make much cooler stuff than this, and the benefit of it being that you can actually like sort of hear both of the qualities of both things at the same time. And here's another way to splice a vocal with something synthetic. We're just gonna use Skrill again because I think I've grown attached, to be honest.
Hey, it's an inspiration to us all.
Yeah. Skrillex has inspired everyone. Wait, so why isn't it coming out?
Oh, because of lane 2. Look at the gain.
Oh yeah, duh. And so now we can go here, but there's this thing that I actually learned. I only knew how to do in Serum before the phase plant stream earlier. Actually, I made them help me so I could help you guys later.
Oh, interesting.
But anyway, so let's go in FM and get this one. This has like a nice texture that I don't know. It sounds good. Wait, no, not a group. I want an output. So if I was putting this out, it sounds kind of like has that like kind of dispersory squishy sound, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we can actually apply that texture to the movement of the Skrill wavetable.
Oh, interesting.
And how we do that is in Serum, there's just an option somewhere that's like copy phases from other oscillator, so it's a little bit less involved than phase plant.
Okay.
But in phase plant, you select the area you want to copy, then you select all the harmonics in there. You have to select the harmonics. You can't forget that part. And then you copy it. And then you go into this wavetable editor and just highlight it and file, edit, paste. And then so now you can see up here it says you can paste phases, magnitudes, or both. So I'm just going to paste phases.
So
and now let's see how Skrill sounds.
What does that do?
This, wait, I'm sorry.
It gives it, so it's like, so it's changing the phase relationship between the harmonics?
Yes, it's changing the phase relationship between the harmonics of each single cycle.
Okay.
Basically.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
And like that's sort of what gives anything its timbre beyond like just the actual spectrum.
Yeah, it's not
like, for
just
example,
the frequency, it's the phase.
Yeah. A really obvious example of this is the dispersed saw wavetable that's in the Kilohertz Factory library. So you can see here. Let's pull up FabFilter Pro Q again, and we'll do some demonstrating. So as we listen to this, you can see it's flat, and then
You can look up at the very top. You can see a little bit of movement, and as we go further.
Yeah, but the thing is that that's only when I move the wavetable position. It's like artifacts from the wavetable positioner itself moving.
Okay.
And since this wavetable, like you can see on here that this is actually not like a kind of nice wavetable in terms of phase at all.
Yeah, a lot of movement left to right.
Yeah, it's moving to the right as I move it up. And that's what it needs to do to be the wavetable that it is. But yeah, it's not really the most desirable to modulate through.
Okay.
But at the same time, like you can see that it's like changing the timbre but not changing the spectrum at all.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying, and that's just the phase relationships that are creating the timbre changes, essentially.
And so that's why everyone likes disperser, because it sort of has that effect of changing the phases without changing the spectrum.
Oh, interesting. Okay, that's cool.
So yeah, you can do that. You can combine textures from pretty much any wavetable, which is really cool to me. Yeah, I know. So I guess that's like two ways you could make to splice a synthetic and non-synthetic sample without just taking single cycle waves from them. And the reason that I wouldn't want to take single cycle waves from like a vocal sample and splice it with a synth sample is because you might not really hear that it's actually a vocal sample, even if you just take out a few cycles because it'll just sound like ah or like
Yeah.
or something.
Sound very vowely.
Yeah. So it'll like it's like vaguely more vocally than just a not vocal type thing, but it's not really the most like useful to do it that way. But that being said, if you are thinking of, you know, trying it, like making wavetables from single cycles, that's probably something to do if you're interested in it. All right, so let's see whose sample is next.
Up next,
by the way,
we have what's up?
Does anyone want the Skrill one? I can post it.
Should we upload the Skrill table?
Yeah.
You can upload it after, if you want, or you can upload it now.
Yeah.
It looks like it looks like the next table is from Tempest. Optimum Traject Tempest.
Cool. Yeah. And I guess I'll just open this one and I'll mute this. All right, and downloads. All right. Oh, hey, it's exactly on a note. How convenient.
You got a pitch.
You got a pitch. Tempest didn't fuck around. He wanted a good wavetable.
Yeah.
All right. So. Ooh, I really like the way the high end sounds.
Yeah. I really dig that one.
Yeah, so do I. And oh yeah, it's on lock all, but I don't think we have to. I really doubt it at least. Yeah, we don't have to.
Yeah.
So yeah, you made a wavetable that was already ready to go, Tempest. Congrats.
Import it. Job done.
Yeah, exactly. But well, actually, I should try and normalize it and see how it turns out. Actually, here,
made it thinner, quieter.
Well, it just made all of the levels the same, essentially. The high part was quieter before. Now they're all equal, but it did make everything quieter, which I don't get. But this might actually be really interesting if we pasted the phases on it too. So let's try it. Or yeah, paste. Paste phases only.
Oh, the phases that is dispersed.
Juicy.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That's nice and wet. Oh man, yeah, you FM that from like a sine an octave down. You get yourself some fucking wet death step fucking yoinks, dude.
Yeah, definitely. All right, well, yeah. Great job, Tempest.
Good work.
I don't really have anything more to say about that because it's right.
There you go. All right, now we got Glorious
now
Rainbows.
We got, banana.
Looks like we got 2 additional ones. Real quick. So we got one from Funk Mod.
And one from Order.
Yeah,
Ooh,
and then
nasty.
a second one from Order. Yeah, that one might have a bit of problems because I can tell there's a lot of unison in that. I don't know if you could hear that, but
I feel like that one might be one that like we might end up importing into Serum and then just importing back into Phase Plant.
Okay, for sure.
Because like that formula for messing with the low end would probably be really useful. But first we got to do Rainbow.
Da haben wir gesehen, tote Fische.
And that's the second one from Order. If you wanted to do 2 from Order, it's up to you.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
The
but,
banana, I think, is yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely like moving Tempest's wavetable away because I don't want to get rid of it.
all the tables that are being saved during this second group now.
So yeah, now wait. So let's see what. Oh yeah, it thinks it's too high again. So let's put it in bass pitch.
And I do notice that you're consistently going to F1 and it's consistently sounding good at F1.
Okay, so you don't actually have to consistently go to F1. That's force of habit.
Okay.
But it going to somewhere around that pitch for vocal samples and it sounding good is not coincidence at all. That's a good place for vocals to sound like basses.
Okay, so in like essentially like in like the quote unquote sub bass range.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's using I feel like that's because it's using bigger chunks of the actual wavetape or the actual waveform.
And sometimes if you go even lower than that, because it's not working at bass pitch, it'll sound even cleaner. But the problem is that the formant will be really high.
Makes sense.
So that's not really very fun. And like if you want it to sound like the original sound at, you know, bass pitch or like melody pitch or whatever. That's definitely some YouTube poop shit right there.
I dig it.
Let's turn the. I feel like it'll be more YouTube poopy if we turn the phase alignment off. Yeah, it definitely is.
But it's a little bit. It's almost too clicky.
Oh yeah, it totally is.
But that's awesome.
But it sounds pretty good when it's not when it's properly aligned.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll show you guys an example of how it would sound if it was imported too low. Like, and keep in mind, so you can barely even hear what it's saying, and not only that, it's at bass pitch. It's like at like super low sub bass pitch. Like if we put in a sub bass here,
it's gonna be fat. Instant minion memes.
Yeah, like you can see that like this is the actual pitch that we're at. That's where all the info in the wavetable is. So if you wanted to do it at bass pitch, you could do minion sounds, but like that's pretty much it. And if you want to go any higher than bass, which is, you know, where most of the notes are, you're kind of just screwed, and it won't sound like the
Plus, you can also pitch up the main wavetable like at normal pitch to get a similar, if not the exact same sound, but just with better formants. Right? Like if we imported at the pitch we did before, like F1, and then we played it an octave higher, wouldn't it sound about like it sounds right now, or am I misunderstanding?
It would sound about like it sounds formant wise when you import it an octave down, I think.
Okay.
From F1.
For sure.
So like if yeah, I guess let's just mess with it. So this is bass pitch. And then the wavetable itself is also imported at bass pitch. And so if we went up, yeah, that sounds pretty much the same, except for like literal higher pitch.
Yeah, more intelligible. As compared with the one where we import at F0, I should say.
I don't know. I think it might be the same. Yeah, it's pretty much the same.
Yeah, it's basically the exact same.
It's like the same formant wise, because you essentially just like imported it at a different octave, but then pitched it up anyway.
Yeah.
And the reason that this works this way is because, like I said earlier, these are audio files. They're not like some kind of magical synthesis or anything. So when you pitch up even a single cycle like that has any formant characteristics at all, this doesn't really apply to like saws, for example. or like sines or squares or whatever.
Yeah.
But anything that has like a dip and a peak somewhere in the spectrum,
That'll all get moved up and down.
it all gets up. Oh my god, it all gets moved up and down depending on what you import it at.
Yeah, absolutely. That was sick. Can we make like, so if we import it back at like just normal pitch, like what sort of things would you do to make this into, say, like a usable bass patch?
The banana sound?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I let's just try it.
See what we
I
come
don't
up
really
with.
have any plans yet, but let's just do it. Cause I think I can. Let's see. And I think the rule is I have to like, use actual movement of the wavetable, right?
I mean, it's up to you. You can do whatever you want.
But I feel like it's just, well, then I'm gonna take movement of the wavetable because I feel like it's cheating if I don't. Because like, I don't know what makes that wavetable special to that patch if you're not moving it, really.
Oh, fair.
All right, so okay, that part maybe is not very interesting. I think this part, like the banana part, is the most interesting. Let's just start out with a fucking OTT because like,
I mean, why not?
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then let's try using one of the warp mode tables. Then soft. So banana.
This is amazing so already.
Getting somewhere. I think we're gonna make a growl. I think that's what it's looking at. Like, I mean,
yeah, like a downbeat growl kind of thing.
Yeah. Man, I think I'm really gonna have to go like pretty small on this. No. And again, I'm gonna be doing the same sorts of things that I did in the last patch, honestly. Now, maybe like a peak in the highs, doing the opposite direction. This is like the most generic UI filter imaginable.
Well, it's interesting because it's like you're getting like na-wah kind of motion because like the main table has a very like formanty vocal quality to it because it's made from an actual voice.
That's kind of doing something.
Yeah, that's wild.
And now I'm gonna put notch also. Maybe it. And some distortion. And now I guess I'm gonna, oh my god, I'm doing like the same shit I did last time.
Hey, if it works, it works. Don't even sweat.
Yeah. A lot of the time, the way I use the ensemble is just like this, essentially.
Okay, yeah, it's so one thing I remember I was talking about.
Sorry.
No, you're all good. I was actually like doing some like I was doing a collab with Bill, Mr. Bill, and like I was trying to use ensemble, and I had it on a patch, and he's like, "Why does that sound so phasey?" And I was like, "It's probably this," and I turned it off. He was like, "Oh wow, that sounds awful." And I think it's because like ensemble, it's super over the top of an effect. Like you can only
yeah,
use
totally.
it in like little minimal uses like this, where it's not even like the full use. It's almost like a chorus, but with some more control over the motion.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what I'm using it as. But I use it in a lot of patches. But yeah, it's like it's weird. It has this like extremely smooth quality that kind of can ruin basically anything that is happening in your high end, like clarity wise. But at the same time, it sounds really nice. And also like the way that it's phasey when the mix is down is actually pretty cool. It sounds like a flanger or something almost.
Yeah, it has a nice
That's
kind
why
of
I'm using it right now.
resonance to it. Thank you, Amadeus, for that follow.
Right, now let's. That's a little bit. Huh? Why isn't it? That really doesn't sound very good when I pitch drop it, huh?
Yeah.
Whoa!
That's pretty cool.
That's something. Maybe I want to make it a little bit longer.
Almost, I'm curious. Or go ahead.
Oh, I wasn't gonna say anything important.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of what you're saying right now, since you're teaching the class, is important. But I was gonna ask, like, or not really ask, but it's like what it sounds like is, imagine if you had the retrigger off and you used it kind of like an exponential kind of thing, where it got like started fast and slowed down. Does that make sense?
On this.
Yeah,
the
on that
LFO?
main LFO, like turn off the retrigger,
Okay.
then start the hertz like at like 2.5 hertz, and then go down to like 1 or something.
I see. Yeah. We can try that. Let's make this longer.
That's actually pretty cool. Nice.
And I think I'm actually gonna I wanna map this to the. Oh wait, no, I can't do that.
You can do it with a macro. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sick.
That's kind of interesting. Of course, that'll probably sound like absolute dog shit in mono. Let's try it.
I mean, we're all hearing it mono on our end.
Oh yeah.
So we already know. Well, no, you should test for yourself.
There we go then. Now you know how it sounds. Oh, that's what I was going for. I was wondering why I wasn't doing that. I forgot to turn auto on.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
And also I'm gonna turn this like mix automation like way down. Sounds pretty good in stereo.
No, I'm sure it sounds awesome. You should. Well, here. Can you record like a quick hit of that and then upload it into the stream discussion channel, and then I can play it for the stream?
Yeah, sure. Oh yeah, well, I was supposed to do funk mod sound too.
Oh yeah.
I just got distracted.
I know
making
we're
this
getting
bass.
so deep. Well, which one is more important for you? Do you want to share that, or do you want to move on to funk mod?
Well, I mean, I think what I was about to say when I said I wasn't saying anything important. Is that like it's kind of getting close to a full sound. I would mostly just like from here it would be like minor beefing up and adding a sub and stuff. I guess I could get more in. I could definitely like go longer.
Oh,
into
obviously.
making
I
it
mean, for
actually,
all of these
like-
sounds, there is going to be a point where it's like, there is going to be a point of no return. But until that point,
Yeah.
you can just go. I would say don't sweat it. Like we can maybe just give that after stream. Like when you're uploading all the different tables, just upload what that patch sounds like, and then we can all take a listen to it on our own time.
Yeah, sounds good.
So let's get Glork's table. And I don't think, or did he? I appreciate that you sent in this other one, but I think it's we don't want to take too much of Glork's time. I'm sure you're.
I don't mind.
Okay, it's up to you.
Yeah, if anyone else like ends up submitting before, then I'm gonna do theirs first, though.
Yeah. So if you have any samples you want Glork to make into a wavetable, just to kind of show off like the do's and don'ts and kind of just give some examples of this process, you could grab it, you can just drop it in Discord, ! Discord for a link to that, and then there's a channel called Stream Discussion, and you can just drop it in there.
All right. So now I downloaded FunkMod sample.
Used his wavetable. Oh, right. Luby said that they made a track with your wavetables.
Oh, sick! That's awesome. I'm really glad to hear that.
Yeah, nice. Not a track. Oh, just a sound.
Still cool.
Nice.
So, here's the. Yeah, that sounds like it's got some detune, but we'll see what we can do about it. Oh, wow, that sounds remarkably good with lock roll on, actually.
Yeah.
I was expecting it to sound worse.
There's still
But
a
I think
little bit of clickiness, but what were you gonna say?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we can do better. I agree. All right. So, F1 plus, I guess 10 maybe? I don't know. Or maybe let's see what this does. Oh no.
Minus
So we
17.
actually wanted it at F1. I think he did make it at F1. Oops. So that sounds a little bit more like the actual table. Or the actual sample.
Oh yeah.
But it's still obviously got some awkwardness going on. And this is when I would try correlate. First. Sounds better. I still don't know if it's good though. I'm gonna import it in Serum, I think.
Do you find that Serum? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Like, it seems like there's so much like rumble in the low phases that it seems like just freezing them is probably the best solution.
Yeah.
To me.
So do you find that Serum handles like things with a lot of detune or a lot of like a unison over faceplant?
So I would say that like probably when we import it right now, it's actually going to sound much worse.
Okay.
Probably, but I don't know. Remains to be seen. But like when you edit it, you can get it pretty nice, like that other Woo table that I showed you guys earlier. We're basically gonna do the same thing to this that we did to that table. Okay, so first things we exfade the edges. I'm gonna try freezing the first 8 phases first. And then we'll move on from there. And then one other thing that I want to say about this wavetable, just in general, is that I think it's a little bit heavy on like the second harmonic in like the low mids or something, like in a way that sounds good for like using in a song, but not in a way that translates super well to wavetables. Because like a lot of the best, like most characteristic movement in this sound, it's all in the high end. Like it's that Reese phasey notchy stuff. And if we look at the spectrum, you can see that like there's all these like giant low mids here.
Like the sub is like just
The sub isn't
way
even very
quieter.
prominent.
Looks like a bass guitar.
Yeah, it is exactly. It's a lot like a bass guitar. And then the high end is also not coming out as much, but it sounds like the kind of thing that you would want to layer a sine wave with when you're actually like writing a tune, and it's like a good bass sound already. But I think as a wavetable, you might want a little bit more high end, and a little bit less second harmonic. But I think it's technically usable now. Let's save this. I don't know. I'm just gonna.
Dreams.
One thing we can do in Faceplant though is like we're gonna just add. Actually, I'm gonna do this on another window. But I'm just gonna add.
Yeah, you can't show off all the secret tables, man.
Yeah. Sorry.
So if you edit it in Serum and save it, we'll save all the processing. Yes, Funk Mod, yeah.
Yes.
It'll, because you can import Serum wavetables directly into Faceplant. They work just one-to-one. You could even add a location in the wavetable browser.
That's what I'm doing right now, actually.
Yeah, that points at your Serum wavetable folder, and then all of your Serum wavetables just automatically show up inside of Faceplant. So it's nice and easy. And that's this right here.
Now we got all of my Serum wavetables in Faceplant,
including Stream. Hooray!
Where is
Stream?
Where does it say that?
It's right where your mouse is. There you go.
God damn it. Okay, so now if we took this back to Faceplant, one thing we can do is now go into the filter tool over here and just
Like, you could just pull out that second harmonic.
Yeah, that's essentially what I'm planning on. Like, if we do this a little bit, maybe, and then we can after. Oh wait, shoot!
Did you
I think I did it for just that one frame. Yeah, I did it for one frame. Nice. All right, so I
think you had already cut it out of the first frame.
Yeah. So I want it over here, and a little bit wider. Oh wait, oops! I didn't. Oh damn it!
You wanted
I'm
to
just
start
mixing up these
over?
keyframes. Yeah, I should probably start over. Just gonna drag the.
Well, you can probably just reload the wavetable, can't you?
Oh, you know what I can do? I can just undo, right?
Yeah. There you go.
So this should be right. Oh wait. Oops. Started searching.
Yeah. No, I get that funk mod. Like it's tough. I mean, as I'm getting more used to Face Plant's editor, I like it more and more. But like you do have to kind of adapt to their thought process at first.
Yeah, it's a little bit tough. But I think that like mostly it's not that bad.
Yeah.
It's just that like I am so not used to it. And I think Serum's wavetable editor was actually more unintuitive to me, just because it was so much like technical jargon the whole way through, and that I didn't understand back when I didn't know how to make wavetables.
And now look at us.
Yeah. Okay, so now
Should be through the whole table.
Yeah, looks like it's pretty much gotten it.
Nice.
Yeah,
with
and
there,
now,
you just layer a sub.
If we normalize it, it'll actually. You can see the high frequencies actually have that like phase movement a little bit here. But it actually doesn't sound that bad. And that's because like the higher up the frequencies, the less loud they're likely to be. And like the little tiny dissonances aren't really going to make as big of a difference. And also because like, I don't know, just something about the way we perceive low end, or like the lowest part of a sound. It's sort of like what puts the sound together. To I don't know, I can't back this up with science.
Well, I mean
something that I've noticed when I'm like listening to things.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like the low end and the mid frequency of the sound. That's where we get kind of like the bass pitch of it. It's where we get kind of like the I guess the building blocks that everything else is built on top of. And then as you go further up, you get the detail and you get the enunciation. And I'm trying to compare this to like the human voice. Like the fundamental of my human voice is actually not as important as, you know, the way my nose and my mouth kind of formant on certain vowels, and the way that the noise is heard, as well as like all the lip smacking noises and all the little details in just human speech that lets us hear, like whether someone's saying paw or ba. And it's why, like, when you listen to someone on an old phone, like, you can't really tell what they're saying. So with this, it's like it's the same sort of thing. Like, we are used to focusing on like the lowest frequencies as the thing that gives us the body of the sound, and then everything up there is just detail.
Yeah, I think that's probably a better way of explaining what I was thinking. Because like I knew that was true. I just didn't really have a good explanation for why that would be true.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to find a good analogy.
Yay.
Hello.
I forgot that this doesn't have a sub, so it's really not going to work as well as I wanted it to for being like a 2-voice Reese. But we can fix that. We can fix it. This time we're bringing the gain up.
Just gonna crank that low end.
Crank this one harmonic.
How to sub 101. Who needs to just layer in a sine wave, right? Just
oh, holy shit! I did it to one frame.
Oh no, the first frame has it. Well, you could just cancel.
Yeah, I will.
And redo. Almost. Let's try that one more time.
Yeah. Oops. There we go.
Perfect. Perfection.
Now we got our sine noise base.
Yeah.
Um,
Jesus Christ, dude.
and then
That's actually pretty
I-
nice.
I don't even know what I'm doing. Oh wait, did anyone else post a sample? Should I be like not
Let
screwing
me
around?
let me double check. Let me see. No, I think you're good. I think you're good. They're just already.
All right, I'll get Ordity in a second. I'm just gonna
Oh,
finish
man.
this because
And
we
I
already did one at Ordity sample.
I just realized I still have a couple of Theory Thursday topics I need to cover after this.
I mean, I don't really know how much else I even need to do, and I'm just kind of screwing around at this point.
Yeah.
Oh, and I got this. Yes, you can. And it's like so easy.
It's not much, but
I
thank
literally
you for
just
both of you
imported
for
my
doing
whole
this.
Wavetable folder. What you do is you add location here, or in the version that's out now of Phase Plant, you would go, oops, damn it.
Also, thank you to Widler. Whoa, hey, thank you so much for that $14 donation. Thank you so much. Wid says it's not much, but thank you both for doing this. Absolutely, Widler. Thank you
Yeah,
so
it's
much
been
for that
fun.
donation. Absolutely. No,
I
I
really
mean,
like this actually.
yeah, no, I love doing these types of streams. Like the whole reason why Split It with Glork. Yes, I will send Glorkglunk $7 as soon as we're done. Glork, you got to DM me your PayPal.
Oh, sweet. $7.
$7. Get some Big Macs.
Fuck yeah.
But yeah, these are so fun. I love I love teaching people. That's why I have this stream, is to like, I want to share knowledge with people and get people to like feel as though you don't have to pay a shit ton of money or dig through a bunch of like people
Yes.
trying to, you know, teach for clout essentially and be like, well, how to sound like Skrillex and get the biggest yoinks for the biggest babes on your track. I'm rock. No. Sorry, not throwing shade. Not throwing any shade.
We all do exactly what you were saying.
Oh yeah. Yes, Adjunct
Anyway,
Funkavad will be up,
just
and I'll be
click,
uploading this.
You just click Add User Folder here, and you just pick a folder from your computer, and that's what. That's how it adds Serum folders, and it'll import Serum Wavetables perfectly just right away.
Oh yeah, it's super fast and easy. So like I still do that, like, because I made a table actually out of the citrus single cycle waveforms.
Ooh,
And
nice.
yeah, and since you couldn't do it in Phase Plant, I did it in Serum, and now I actually have those individual kind of waveforms as a table in Serum or in Phase Plant that I can now morph between and stuff.
Yeah, nice.
Where in Discord would I send sounds I made with stuff I learned here? That's a good question. I guess for now, stream discussion's good, general's good. I guess we could make like a cool sounds channel. I'll do that right now. I'll make just cool sounds in main discussion, and you can put them in there already. That works. But yeah, stream discussion also works. Well, I guess is there any like last minute little thing you wanna say to people? Any little tips or tricks or words of advice or just general wisdom from the mouth of Glorkglunk?
I know I'm forgetting something. That's my last word of wisdom. I really don't know. Like maybe. Oh, where can we find my sounds? I have a SoundCloud, but I haven't updated it in forever. I need to make like a Gumroad and put my wavetables up for like pay what you want though.
Yes, please do that. And in the meanwhile, you can find Glorkglunk occasionally in my Discord, most of the time in Mr. Bill's Discord, and I think you're also in Woolg's Discord a lot, right?
Yes.
So yeah, if you know Woolg, then in his Discord as well.
Yeah, it was fun coming. Thanks, Nalis.
Yeah, thank you so much for doing this, Glork. I really appreciate it. You are awesome.
I'd be down to do something like this again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe we could do like a drum day or something.
Oh yeah, yeah. Glorkglunk Masterclass Round 2 drum synthesis. That sound good? Yeah. Everyone, thank Glorkglunk for doing this. Everyone, please type "thank you, Glorky Poo" in chat, please. It would do me It would do me a solid. But yeah, thank you so much, dude. I really, really appreciate it.
Wow. Yeah, thanks for all the support, everyone. It's been awesome.
Awesome. Alrighty. Do you want me to let you go? What's up?
Yeah, I guess I'll let you do your Thursday stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll let you go. I'm gonna hop back here to the desktop so I don't leak any
Alright.
secret memes. Thank you so much, Glork.
Cool. Yeah.
Alrighty.
Alright, bye.
Bye. Okay. That is it.